Good afternoon, folks, and thanks for joining us for the two best-looking guys on the Fighters First Network. My name is Tim Wheaton, and joined as always by my partner, the mechanic, Brandon Cuttino. Mr. Cuttino, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing well, man. Like I said, it's always good to talk big kickboxing with you.
Man, absolutely. And it's been a couple of busy weeks in kickboxing. We've got some fun announcement. First of all, we have the former Glory champion fighting in one championship against their champion. We have Marat Grigorian has been announced to be the next opponent against Superbon, which is just like, this is a great fight. This is at 1X. I think it's March 26th, I believe. What do you think of the fight? It's a big announcement.
Dude, it's crazy. It's like, yo, this guy was in the tournament, tested positive for COVID, gets out, and he gets rewarded with a title shot. It's like, what? Like, okay. Like,
it's a great matchup. Even still, like, he didn't win the tournament. He got a pass through the tournament. But he is best case scenario, right? Like, this is the best that could have happened to him.
I mean, hey man, I'm cool with it. I'm cool to see the rematch. I mean, but it was just so funny. It was just like, yo, he was in the tournament, he got out. So they're like, hey, you know what? Let's just give you a title shot now.
Because I was pretty sure that we were going to hang out and wait, like whoever won the tournament fights Superbon. That's the point of this tournament. But they just threw Marat in there. I don't know what the deal is that they needed to book some time. It's not like they needed space on 1X. 1X is such a good card. They didn't have to put this on there, but now 1X is fleshed out and it's looking really good.
Yep.
Man, it's a good fight. Sure. Man, and it's a rematch 4 years in the making. So Marat absolutely blasted him just using his power, his combination, his speed. Knocked him out in 30 seconds. At that point, Superbon was kind of, he was a very good fighter, but kind of developing. He had a loss to City Chai, had a loss to Andy Semler, and a loss to Grigorian. No shame in any of those losses. Those are amazing losses, but now he's been racking it up and he's been on the revenge tour, right? Like, what do you think of this future matchup?
I think it'll be good. Like you said, in that first fight, like we had talked about, with Smokin' Joe. Like Smokin' Joe, he was a slow starter. And I think in that fight, Superbon, he was a slow starter as well. But now, man, I mean, you watch Superbon now, he's kind of getting after it. He has adapted his Muay Thai ways to the K1 / Glory ways, where it's got to be a little bit more quicker.
Yeah, because the thing is that kickboxing and Muay Thai theoretically really do lend athletes to one another very effectively, but the distance is very different because you're not trying to close into a clinch. And if you get too close and you're not able to clinch, it's a completely different thing. And Superbon, he's improved in a ton of areas, but one of them has just been controlling distance. And I think that's the biggest adjustment for a lot of fighters, adjusting from Muay Thai to kickboxing. I don't know if you would agree with that at all.
No, definitely. I think so. It's definitely is where. I think is where usually I think you still can clinch, but it's like you can't clinch and hold for a long time. But also too, I think the thing is also taking away those elbows. And a lot of people think about those elbows and it's like, yeah, you can't use those, but you can still use those knees. You can still use your knees. I think a lot of people they kind of do forget about those.
Yeah, K1 rules. I still like the name that it feels like we're like K1 rules. It's a legacy of the great K1 period. But the K1 rules were designed around tournaments to make sure that guys weren't getting cut so they could fight later in the night. I'm down for elbows. Like elbows, we should all be able to elbow each other in kickboxing and other sports and stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not crazy.
I mean, hey man, if people want to throw some elbows, man, let them throw some bows. I'd be down. I'd be down for it. I'd be down for it.
And like, what was it? Strikeforce for a long time, I think, had no elbows. Pride, of course, forever had no elbows, but like stomps and stuff. But yeah, sometimes you get funny rules in these sports. But I think the K1 rules, I think those are going to be the rules going forward because it's kind of the legacy. Their tradition is there. I think those are the rules going forward. But yeah, Marat Grigorian versus Superbon on 1X. Oh man, that's a good fight. I'm so excited for that one. And we're going to break it down a little bit closer because 1X is a really big card. So we'll do some more breaking down. We also have, Anissa Meksen has been calling out Janet Todd. And here's the weird thing with Janet Todd is that Anissa Meksen is a former Glory champion. She challenged for the Glory title a bunch of times, and she's an extremely good fighter with over 110 wins in her career between Muay Thai and kickboxing, even some professional boxing mixed in. She fought to a couple of really close decisions with Tiffany Van Soest. She's a very good fighter. Janet Todd is the champion in one championship. Mexican has won some fights in one and called out Janet Todd, but Janet Todd hasn't responded. She hasn't agreed to a bout. She has no bout scheduled despite being the reigning champion. She hasn't been active on social media for almost a full year now. and she was active before. This is kind of inconsistent where like she actually fought a couple of times in 2021. She fought a couple of times, like she fought a bunch of times in 2019. She fought once in 2020. It's kind of weird that a defending champion doesn't have a fight lined up, and then you have a clear kind of top contender in one championship. What's going on, Brandon?
I mean, I don't know. It's like we've talked about this before, but I could swear, which nobody has ever commented back when I put this out on social media. I'm like, I could swear these two ladies are in two different weight classes, but nobody
one kilogram apart officially.
Right, but nobody has said anything because I like when they got posted out, I commented, I'm like, are these two not in two different weight classes? And I get crickets. So it's like I don't know if like Anissa Meksen is coming down in weight, and I just don't know it. Because I could have sworn her one fight that she had in one was still at her normal weight class of like 122 pounds, unless I missed it. Because like I said, I could swear Janet Todd is the champion at like 105 pounds. You know?
Give me 1 sec. So 50, man, everything's in kilograms because we're not.
No, it's okay. I got you. Said 50 kilograms, right?
50 kilograms. So 51 kilograms for Janet Todd.
50 kilograms is 110 pounds.
Yeah. And then 50. So Meksen has fought a few different weight classes. She's fought 53 kilograms, as high as 54 kilograms. But I think her last fight, she was 52 kilograms. So she's just 2 kilograms is not a massive, or 1 kilogram is not a huge difference. That's like 2.5 pounds.
So 52 kilograms is 114 then. All right.
Kind of in the wheelhouse of each other, kind of close to each other there. But yeah, it's a weird thing that like there's a contender here. But yeah, I guess they're in the same weight class. They're close enough to the same weight class. They'd probably both jumped around because there's not that many fighters in any of these weight classes here.
But I mean, but the thing to the story is though, like I said, Anissa Meksen apparently the president of one said like, oh sorry, fight's not happening. Yeah. But then I think Janet Todd's coach said like, oh, we never got offered or her manager I think came out and said like, oh, we never got offered a contract. So I don't know what you're talking about. So who knows, man? A lot of stuff going down in one behind the scenes. A lot of drama being spilled out.
Yeah, there's been some other stuff too, and I can't talk about too much of like some of the background stuff. But like even Bibiano Fernandez has complained that he doesn't get contract offers, and he's like, I'm the champion. I need to defend my title. And he's phoning one. He's like, I need to fight. I need to get paid, and he can't get a fight booked. So it's not unheard of that maybe one hasn't sent an offer over. Janet Todd also has a side. This is her side job. She's an aerospace engineer, I think, full time. And it's weird that she's a world champion. It's like, it's kind of my side gig. This is something I do for a hobby.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I just don't know about the weight classes, but like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are right next to each other, and I just didn't know it. But like I said, I could have sworn I thought Janet Todd had fought at 105, but if she's fighting at 110 and Meksen's fighting at 114, I guess maybe a Meksen can cut the 4 pounds.
Well, yeah, I thought because Janet Todd had fought Stamp Fairtex. I guess Stamp is around 115-ish. Meksen has fought Tiffany Van Soest, and she's super bantamweight. I think I think they're just kind of forcing it to be like, you guys are close enough, right? You two can fight.
I mean, hey, if the belt's at 115, all right, I can see the fighting. But if the belt's at like 110 or 105, and you know a Meksen's at 114, is like, chick, you got to show that you can get down to this weight at least. Like, I mean, have you really fought at the weight class that like you're trying to be the champion at? You know, like I said, like that's the thing, man. Like I said, like one's weight classes are kind of like all over the place, especially with the ladies. You don't know where people are; they're all jumping all around. So. It's like, I don't really know.
Man, I feel the same way too, because I don't even know how many weight classes. Man, I feel dumb. I cover kickboxing full time. I cover MMA full time, and I wrote like I was the guy covering the one women's atomweight championship. Like I was the guy who was covering all that, and I'm still looking at one of like I don't know how many women's kickboxing weight classes you actually have. I have no clue, and I cover this full time. I have no idea what's going on with these weight classes. It says bantamweight and super bantamweight, but we know in actuality that doesn't mean anything. For Janet Todd, it says atomweight and strawweight. Doesn't mean anything to me.
Say 105, 115, I guess.
Yeah, I think somewhere in there. You know, they're all just keeping the belt warm for Jackie Bunton anyway. Get Jackie in there. She's going to crush all these girls. She's going to destroy them all. I don't care what anyone says.
All right.
Let's move forward to some other big announcements that we have going on. Petch, and I'm not going to say his name fully because I keep embarrassing myself, has lost to Chujaroen I know I'm saying it wrong. Again. So they've had a trilogy over about 10 months now, and it's 2-1 for Chujaroen. But Petch is the reigning champion in glory. Petch is just keeping active. He fights every couple of weeks. He fights like once a month now. He's 27 years old, and he has, I think, like 200 fights at this point in his career. 166 fight at 27 years old. But yeah, he just lost the other day, and it was a close fight, and it was a decision, and it was a ton of clinching. But yeah, Petch had just lost, and he's lost this trilogy just over the last couple of months. Brandon, what do you make of it?
I mean, I'll tell you this, man. When I saw this fight, I was like, yo, what weight class is that? Because for some reason, man, his opponent just looked so much bigger.
He did look big, yeah.
Like he just looked really big. And I was like, yo, what weight class is this? But apparently, though, I think Petch weighed in a pound heavier, but I believe though his opponent is actually like maybe is taller than him. So maybe that's what is why it's just why he looked bigger. But yeah. I mean, man, he had a good game plan. Like I said, he swarmed, like he put the pressure on Petch. Like it's usually Petch is the one walking people down, but this time he got walked down. I don't know if it maybe just plays into the Muay Thai rules because, like I said, it was a Muay Thai fight, So that's what I'm saying. He can clinch him, he can hold on him. He's saying he's the taller guy, so basically the clinch is better for the taller person, So he can just kind of ragdoll him, which is what he did. I don't know if anybody in glory can kind of mimic that since you can't really clinch as long, But I mean, you still can't walk somebody down and pressure them that way. But I mean, hey man, until I see somebody beat him in glory, to me he'll still be glory champion.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They are two different sports, and they're different enough where how you do in one isn't necessarily reflective of how you're going to do in the other. Doing poor in Muay Thai doesn't mean that you're going to do poor in kickboxing. It's just stunning to see that someone like Petch, whose last like three kickboxing bouts, he's been flawless. He has barely been touched in those kickboxing bouts. He's cruising to victories like it's no problem. And then goes back to Muay Thai, fights someone apparently in his weight class, 5'11" versus 5'7", which is a big difference there. That's actually a really big difference between those two. And then just kind of gets pressured, gets worked. It's a big deal. No, we always want to say like this guy's getting old. He's kind of at the end of his career. He's 27. But yeah, I don't know. It's so hard that everyone in Muay Thai is like 25 years old at their best, and by 30 their body is so broken down. Maybe he is just getting old, but I'm going to agree with you that I think it's just based on what I've seen him do in kickboxing just a few months ago. It's probably just styles here, right? It's probably just Muay Thai. It's probably just styles. It's not age.
I mean, well, also too, like I said, I mean, his guy was definitely bigger than him, man.
He was bigger. He was
like I said, I mean, hey, Petch could have came in a pound heavier, but maybe that guy cut, man. He could have cut a lot of weight. Being 5'11", coming in, I think it was Petch weighed 142. I think his opponent had weighed 141. So I mean, it's like like I said, that guy just looked big, man. He looked like he was in my weight class. Like when
he was. There's a big difference between 5'7" and 5'11" when we're talking about sometimes weight classes are 10 pounds apart, like 4 inches. That's a big deal at any weight class there. So I think size probably did play a factor in this fight. But now he's 2-1 up. I don't know what the future holds for this young man, Chujaroen. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, everybody who knows how to say the name properly. But yeah, let's get him into he's doing extremely well. Beating Petch is a big deal. He's fighting well. He was a Lumpinee Stadium champion back in 2015. Let's get him up to 1. Let's see how he does against some of these other Muay Thai guys. Let's keep it going. You know what I mean? Let's see this guy fight some more guys.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to watch some Muay Thai kickboxing, it's free. It's just kind of out there. You can find it. It's on YouTube and stuff. You don't need to get any special. It's not on Fight TV. It's not on Fight Pass. It's just free on YouTube. It's usually just someone message me and I'll show you how to find it. One of the weirdest fight announcements that we also have is Tenshin Nasukawa. I mean, we're so excited. He's fighting Takaru. The Cold War's finally over. It's great stuff. We're looking good. And then he's going to boxing. And then he decided to take a non-exhibition bout, an actual kickboxing exhibition bout, against his own teammate, Kazane Nagai. The hell do I make of this? This looks stupid. It's not even that hard of a fight. It's his former teammate. His dad is the coach of Kazane. This looks dumb. What do you think, Brandon? Am I wrong?
I don't know. I was gonna be like, yo, this is Japanese combat sports, bro. This is how it goes, man. I mean, I really don't know what it is. I don't know if it's maybe like, hey, man, let's just let's just get paid. Like, I don't know, man.
Could be.
Maybe they're getting paid big time. Like, say, man, hey, man, we're prize fighters. Like you said, man, this guy's really like last fight, and I think Rise is what it's supposed to be. I think that's what they're selling. But
probably,
is it really going to be a fight, or is it going to be like a sparring match? These two dudes are just going to be like, yo, let's just get in here, let's just chill. let me make it through this so I can get to the big fight, and let's just get paid. So I really don't know. Like, I don't know if there's beef between these two, and they're like, yo, let's just settle it. I'm about to leave kickboxing anyway. I'm going to go to boxing. I mean, hey, I don't know, man. Like I said, man. But again, though, we're talking about it. So we're helping Rise out if that's what they want. Like you say, people are talking about it. We're talking about it. So, I mean, hey, they're getting what they want. They're getting what they want, which is the press about it. So,
yeah, Kazane, he is the champion in Rise in one of the weight classes. Again, like sometimes they'll just throw names. Okay, so it says. It just says the number. It says 53 kilograms. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, is that straw weight? I never know. 117 pounds.
Well, we said 52 was 114. So what is he, like 118 then?
Yeah, 118, which I think he's actually going to be smaller coming. Yeah, Tenshin's way up at 125. So again, he's fighting a champion who's a fair, like he just won a split decision to win the title. So he's an okay, fair champion at 117, 115-ish.
Sorry, wait, no. 53 kilograms is 116.
Man, we're gonna have to switch. I'm gonna have to start doing this in my head. This is so hard. This is the hardest thing that we ever talk about is converting numbers in our head. So he's 116, fighting a guy who fights at 126, his teammate, a guy who's clearly lapping him at this point, right? Like he's won so many different titles in different weight classes. Tenshin, he's the superstar of the sport in Japan. He's the champ. Yeah, he's multiple weight classes. He's got a super fight coming up. This is a weird fight to make. No, Tenshin, they gave him a fight coming up just in a couple days here. Very similar of like, this is a cordial fight. It's a good fight, but it's an exhibition fight. We're going to make it clear this is an exhibition fight because he is doing a warm-up for his big fight. With Tenshin, they're like, no, it's not a warm-up. It's just not that good of a fight.
I mean, what I mean? Like I said, too, I mean, hey, man, Tenshin's the big star. Maybe he's trying to give his teammate the rub. We say, in pro wrestling, he's giving this guy the rub. So this way people can be on the lookout for him. So that way when Tenshin moves on, to boxing, look out for my teammate. He's gonna be the next kickboxing star. He's gonna take Rise, and go on from there. But like I said, man, I'm not in the camp. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what Rise is thinking. I just know Tenshin's thinking this, and he's getting it. So
he's getting paid fine. Yeah, I think the young man is doing well. He's doing well. And honestly, if prize fighters, like you said, from our perspective, from media's perspective, my perspective, maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense. But for a prize fighter, like you said, that makes sense. He's got to fight. He fights for money. He's maybe taking care of his teammate at the same time, maybe promoting his teammate a little bit, but they're all getting paid. And that's kind of worth it at the end of the day. That's his full-time job is fighting. We had Crush 134 over the weekend. 2 title fights were on the line. Did you catch any of Crush 134? I know it's a terrible time zone for you.
Yeah, I totally I was zonked out, of course, when it happened. I did see the women's fight, of course. Me, I'm always king of the lady fights. Man, that spinning back fist that was hit. It was beautiful, but homegirl did not go down. She kept coming forward after she got caught. But yeah, I mean, hey man, Crush / K1, man, they're always doing good cards,
Yeah, and I do wish that kickboxing was a little bit thicker. It's not their fault. So Miyu Sagawa, she's an awesome champion. She's a young, great talent. She's been in karate since she was in first grade, and she this is her first title defense, and she does this full time. Her opponent kickbox quite a bit, but again, it's a hobby for her. She actually is a beautician on the side. Kickboxing is the side job, and same with some of the other people on the card where they're like, oh yeah, she took time off of her normal job to train. And now she's fighting here. But also in the main event, had Ayinta Ali, who's a young man. His father is from Ghana, his mother's from Japan, and I think he's had one loss to Masaki Nori. No shame in losing to that man there. And then he just won a split decision in an extension round against Riki here to win the welterweight title in Crush. And I think Ali. He reminds me of a young, like Alistair Overeem at 205 pounds, where like he's so young and he's raw, but you can see like he's more physical than all these guys. He's probably a little bit stronger than all these guys. He needs to more experience, and this young man is going to be very good in the future. But yeah, check out the highlights if you haven't. It's on our Twitter feed. It's on the K1 puts out all their highlights, and it's a great fight to watch there. Ayinta Ali versus Matsuko Riki. But we want to talk about, so in boxing and MMA, there has been some capital promoters, and this I'm stealing Brandon's words here. This is all Brandon's ideas here, but there's been some really good promoters, and you can remember them, and their personalities really shine through. Whether we're talking about Dana White or who's the boxing promoter who's always on everyone's mind?
There's Eddie Hearn.
Hearn, yeah. Hearn is like, he's such a personality. He's a force of personality. Kickboxing has never had that. It just never, ever had that. So we were trying to think of ideas and names, and I put down a bunch, and I kind of changed my mind over a few points of if there were to be a kickboxing promoter, especially stateside or internationally, whatever, who would be a good fit? Brandon, what do you think?
Well, so for the people who are just tuning in for the first time, or maybe they haven't been paying attention to our show, this basically just goes off of something that we've been talking about a while ago, which was why hasn't kickboxing become bigger in the US, or just bigger in general, and it just kind of came off of something that where actually our very own Tim Wheaton over here, he did an interview with Tiffany Van Soos, and he kind of asked her that, and really everybody and her answer was, she was talking about the fighters, and usually everybody always talks about, oh, the fighters need to do this, fighters need to do that, and I thought to myself, like, whoa. And I kind of was in the mix too about fighters, because I was like, oh, fighters don't really do that much press and all this stuff like that. But then I thought to myself, well, usually everybody, like we talk about in MMA, in boxing, there's a promoter. There's a guy that kind of puts people out there that talks to the media themselves. You look at UFC, they have Dana White. Bellator has Scott Coker, which Scott Coker has done kickboxing before in his Strikeforce days as well. Yes, you look at boxing, like we talk about Eddie Hearn, who's over in Europe. Then you got Bob Arum, the great Don King, and all this stuff like that. It's like we know who these people are, and then of course the PFL, they have Ray Cefa, which of course all kickboxing fans, we know who Ray Cefa is, and it made me think like kickboxing doesn't really have that figurehead anymore, like they used, or like they did, like Glory did, like they've had a couple of CEOs. They had John Franklin, which he was big in kind of getting them that ESPN deal, which was all right, but nobody knew where it was. Like everybody was like, oh, what's ESPN3, which they didn't know it was a website that you had to go to. And then then he left, and then they got I had his name, Martin Zaletsky, I think is how you say it.
Yeah, Martin, yeah, something like that, yeah.
But I mean, he was, which I think he did a better job of kind of introducing other media outlets to kickboxing, which is why now, like, Glory has to deal with Sherdog, like he kind of reached out to other outlets to say, hey, come cover this sport, which he of course used to work with the UFC. So, he had he helped with Fight Pass, and that's why Glory had that Fight Pass deal as well. Like, to me, it's like these guys have kind of helped Glory kind of get a, I guess, like a TV deal or something like that. Like saying, like John Franklin got the ESPN. The last one he got the UFC Fight Pass. But to me, none of these guys are really kind of saying, hey, watch these fights. This is why you need to watch these fights. These are the best fights. This guy's the best fighter type of deal. And like now they don't have that person anymore. So I just came up with like, man, who is somebody we were talking like who that would be good, and like should it be maybe an ex-fighter? And which of course it brings it again to the great Tim Wheaton over here just doing interviews of the stars.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how about Remy? The Flying Gentleman. Like he's such a nice guy where to me he's charismatic. He is in the media himself. He can talk and he can be blunt as well, which is what us fans is in the media is what we really want from from a CEO or a president, or a promoter. We want you to be blunt. Tell us how it is. Let us know why it is that we should be tuning into this. So I mean, just on the Glory side, like that's what I think you even want. Like even on one, like their president, Chatri, he goes out, he does interviews. You'll see him on the MMA Hour and stuff like that. Like he's their front man. It's his baby, and he's the front man of it. And I know we talk about, like, I was trying to say, like, right now for Glory, I would say Scott Rudman is probably that guy right now. But it's like, do we really want Scott Rudman to be that guy? Like, say, I like Scott Rudman. I think he's a cool dude. You know, he follows me on Twitter. Big ups on that, my guy. So appreciate it. You know, but it's just like I don't know if he feels comfortable in that role. You know, he's the vice chairman. Maybe wants to still be behind the scenes. Like maybe you know, let's try to get a figurehead. Because even now I was thinking about it, I was like, man, who is now the guy at their press conferences? And I want to say it's I feel bad. Like I don't really know that. Like sometimes it can be Todd Grisham, who is their play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
Or it's the other guy who's I think he's French. And he'll usually be with Remy, you know, when because he'll do the interviews in the ring now. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I apologize.
Yeah, I don't know the gentleman's name either.
You know, but he's not really doing anything. Like he just says, okay, guys, this is who's coming up. Okay, ask your question. But he's not really saying anything like, hey, this is what you need to watch it, because again, like he's not a promoter. He's not the hype man. You know, so that's why I kind of think that Glory, you know, or kickboxing in general isn't where it needs to be, because it doesn't have that figurehead, that person that's in the media saying, hey, guys, you need to watch this. You know, like, yes, you're like, yes, you do need a TV deal. Yes, you do need exciting fighters, which Glory has. We all know Glory has knockouts for days. Everyone wants to see knockouts. But you need that TV deal. You need somebody that's going to promote it and say, hey, this is why you need to watch it, which we don't really have. And like I say, fighters are quiet. You know, there's not many fighters that are going to be out there in the public say, hey, look at me, watch me, all this stuff like that. So that's why I think you really do need a figurehead. And like I said, I think Remy would be good.
Remy would be amazing. Like, I can talk well.
I mean, you know, like there's really like nobody else off the top of my head. Like just enjoying, like I'm just thinking of a fighter going into it, like who's retired, you know, but like, you know, I really don't know like anybody else like who would really want to get into it. Like, I mean, unless you're trying to bring Chuck Norris into the mix, but you know, I mean, he
did Promoter of Kickboxing. Remember that? Do you remember that?
I mean, Chuck Norris, he did have his own kickboxing league. He had Chuck Norris World Combat League.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey man, you never know. You get Chuck Norris in the mix, people might really be paying attention to you. But I don't know. I mean, I just got Remy in my head. That's really all who I kind of came up with. You know,
I'll throw some names at you. But Remy, I love. He's won like a medal because he solved some crimes at one point. He's an underwear model. He's one of the like golden age greats. Like he ticks all the boxes except for American. So if you're trying to get like MMA and casual fans in to switch them to kick, they don't know Remy is the only knock against him. Otherwise, he's perfect. If you've ever seen him speak, he's so excited to talk about kickboxing, right? Like I could listen to him talk. I could listen to him talk all day. Remy Bonjasky is the man, and he's still my final pick. But let me throw some other names at you here. You've already said it. What about friend of the show, Ray Sefo? Would he be it? But although I guess he kind of fits into the same category of like MMA fans casual fans really wouldn't recognize this guy, right?
Well, I would say this. So one, Ray Sefo, I think couldn't do it because, like I say, he's with the PFL now. He's their president, so he's already taken. You know, but
is he their president or is he their president? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he's their whatever his title says, that's what his title says.
That's right. Okay.
But I mean, but the thing is, like, I think people know Ray Sefo because also he was a coach at Extreme Couture. So you know he's in the gym like that. So I think that's how people kind of knew his name as well if they weren't big into the kickboxing scene. But
true.
But that's just what I think. I think even though Remy isn't from America, I think you just put him out there, they're gonna know who you are. Because same thing like all these promoters, it's not like you know who they are right off the bat, like Eddie Hearn, you know, Bob Arum, you know, all these guys, they all had to had to be built up, you know.
You had to get them in interviews, get them like saying kind of awkward, funny things sometimes. And honestly, promoters, sometimes we talk about like Eddie Hearn. He's just so full of like trash. That's a promoter. He needs to spin it so his fighters look good. Shotri, same thing of like, no matter what's happening outside the world, he will always say like, no, John Haggerty would knock out Tenshin. John Haggerty would beat Takaru. Yes, that is what a promoter does. We've been jaded by Dana White, like trashing his own fighters. That's not what a promoter is supposed to look like. They're supposed to build up their fighters regardless of what's happening, right? If it's a boring fight, you're supposed to spin it. That's just how a promoter works. Let me throw some other names at you for promoters, and you can knock them down. Friend of the show, Kung Lee. He did kickboxing back in the day. Was a UFC headliner. The guy can talk too.
True. Nah, you know what? I didn't think about it, but no, Kung Lee would be good. I say he has a kickboxing background,
Yep.
real famous action star as well. So
Yep.
I mean, he'll definitely bring the name value to it. You know, it's just all about like to me, I always want my promoter to be in the sport, like, oh, like, you know, they're paying attention, they're really watching. I just don't know what all the things he's got going on, if he's really into it, because that's what I kind of felt like with the last two guys for Glory was they were in it, but they weren't really in it, you know?
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about, where sometimes you hire someone who's like a PR director. And that's what the kind of some of the guys on Glory, they're good and they have the right connections, but yeah, they feel a little bit more business than they feel promoter. Whereas Remy, clearly this guy is a promoter. He can talk all day about this stuff and he's a good promoter. But yeah, Kung Lee, not a bad one at all. Inspired by Chuck Norris's World Combat League, right? World Combat League was Chuck Norris's show. What about Stephen Thompson? If you pay him a bunch of money to promote Glory in the United States or something like that, he has a lot of kickboxing experience. He's headlined on the UFC. He's fine looking. He's handsome. I'll say it.
No, Stephen Thompson's not that. I mean, he definitely is a great speaker. Always has a smile on his face. You know, good guy. People like him. Fan favorite. I mean, yeah. If that's something that he wants to do down the road, I could definitely see that.
And Anthony Pettis just started a show. Jorge Masvidal just started a show. One of these guys wanted to get into kickboxing. Jorge and Anthony Pettis, a little bit of force of personality there. Both of them are good faces, especially coming from the UFC. Pettis, I think Pettis has at least he has some kickboxing experience, I think, but I actually don't know if he does.
No, I just know he was a Taekwondo black belt.
Yeah. Let me throw some other names at you here. Let's say money's no issue. And you're in charge of Glory. You just got a loan from the big bank, and they're like, here's $100 million. Hire whoever the hell you want. What about anyone from the cast of The Expendables? Let me throw a Sly Stallone, an Arnold at you, a Terry Crews. Any of these boys would do. They'd be amazing promoters.
I mean, the obvious one would be, hey, let me get Jet Li. But then it's like, but
he'd be so good. He would be amazing.
You know, I don't know if his English is really up like that. You know, but speaking of it just hit me. I just thought of somebody. Yeah. Man, why did I just go blank now on it? Because you got me with The Expendables. I just had somebody who I thought would be good.
Talking about Pettis and Masvidal, and then we kind of.
I know. Oh no! Wait, man! Dang! I just had somebody too. Oh man, it's gonna come to me too. It's gonna come to me after like the show's over. It's gonna be like, oh wait.
You're gonna text me later and be like, it's this guy. Man, that was the perfect pick. Why didn't you say his name?
I can't think now, man, because I'm like, oh, who are we talking about? Because I like GSP came into mind, but no, because he's doing Karate Combat.
Yeah, and now that he's promoting Karate Combat, I can confidently say George St. Pierre. He's not a promoter. He's not a promoter. I love George, but he was a guy who needed every title to be a draw in the UFC. He wasn't drawing based on his force of personality in any way.
Yeah, man.
And I'm from Canada. I'm saying that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like say, like I think it's one of those things where just like you just want those people that has energy. Like, I mean, like you just really want somebody who really is like into it, like, you know, like say like Karate Combat has like Boss Root and like, you know, he promotes and talks about stuff like that, like, but he's a guy that has good energy and everything like that, you know.
And George is such a good name too. George is a great name. Like even though hearing him promote, like I know who he is and all that. He's George is a king. But let's say money's no option. We're going down the Arnie path. I mean, The Rock. There it is. Promote it. The Rock could promote anything. He could sell me anything he wants. Jason Statham, not as good, but you know, after The Rock will say no, so we need Jason Statham.
I mean, hey, he was in the Expendables as well. You know, Jason Statham was as well.
That's right. I've never seen these. I've never seen these movies in my life. Oh, Vin Diesel. How about Vin? If we got no money,
hey, man, he's not an action. Like he's an action guy, but he's not a martial arts guy. You know, you want somebody that's into the arts. You know, that really is watching kickboxing, that knows a little bit, you know, about it. But
let me jump back to reality.
Like I said, I think Remy or Kung Lee, like you said, I think Kung Lee is a good choice as well.
Let me throw two more names at you because we're going to settle back to reality. I called Arnie. His people said, "Who are you?" Okay, fine. There's no problem. What about Rampage Jackson? some kickboxing experience, but he can talk.
I mean, he can, but I feel like he would be more on the boxing side. Yeah. You know, he's probably into the hands more than using the kicks and the knees as well.
That's true. He was renowned in the UFC for never throwing kicks, so maybe that's the wrong guy to get in. Or, and I don't know if he's a promoter, but he speaks well, and I know that he has passion for the sport. Mark Hunt.
Yeah, Mark Hunt would be good too. I mean, hey, he's a former K1 champion. You know,
headlined in the UFC a bunch of times as well. But I don't know if he like Remy has control, and I know that he's thinking about what he's saying. I don't know about Mark Hunt.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like to me, you want somebody that the people will gravitate to, which is kind of why I think Ray Sefo is so good.
Yeah,
with them also, and also too, Ray Sefo. Also, I think the thing too with having the next fighter is as the promoter, you used to fight, so you know how it is. You know how it used to. You know how it is to be a fighter. So it's like you know what they're going through, which is why I think negotiations, talks, all this stuff like that won't be as crazy or anything like that. While like with other people, like man, it's like yo, you never step foot in a cage or in a ring. You don't know what's going on over here. You're just thinking about other stuff. You're not thinking about what it is that we're going through. So that's kind of why I got into it. Maybe it should be an ex-fighter, is because I just think of the PFL and the Ray Sefo model, and I'm just like, oh, like I think that might be good for Glory, you know, because also too, like I say, you want that name value that will bring the people, you know, to you. Like, yes, usually some people they like their promoters to be unseen. But usually, man, if you're a good promoter, you're gonna get known, especially if you're doing press. You know, you're gonna get out there.
I think it massively helps because Scott Coker, he has actually promoted kickboxing in the US. Yep. He was the K1 promoter when they came to Vegas. He was Strikeforce was founded as a kickboxing organization, and they did Bellator kickboxing. So he's had three opportunities to be the promoter. Scott, I'm sorry. You're just not you tried. You're just not cutting it. It's not for you. So we've elected Kung Lee is a close second, but we have clearly elected it's Remy Bonjasky every day of the week.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if Remy wants to do the job, I think he would be great at it. Yeah, I just kind of wish I knew who my other person was that I had in my head. But I can't remember now. I really can't remember. It's gonna drive me crazy because I was like, oh, it just pops in my head, but then you had to pick up the Expendables on me, and I just totally forgot who I had. I think it was a former fighter too. But
you this is one of those you got to subscribe to our Patreon only show, which is $1 a week, and then we'll tell you our secrets of what we really think what's going on, including what we forgot. No, we should get a Patreon only show, and then because we are the two best looking guys on the channel.
Hey.
Okay, so we're gonna head out of here for the next couple of weeks. We've got a K1 show coming up this week. 2 weeks from now, I think there's a lot of March has a lot of kickboxing going on. I think there's 2 weeks where there's a Rise, there's a K1, the one championship is doing a bunch, and there's a Glory, I think, with all of them 10 days of each other. So we're gonna have a lot to talk about upcoming. Brandon, send them out of here. What do you got going on in your life?
Hey, I just want to say first, before we head out, shout outs to Beyond Kick. They actually just told me that they're actually a big fan of the show. So shout outs to you, my guy. Please keep doing what you're doing. We love your content on social media. Keep sharing it. Remember, guys,
Beyond Kick is awesome. Beyond Kick, they're a resource. They're such a good resource if you're just trying to find stuff in kickboxing. Beyond Kick is absolutely awesome. They get full endorsement all day long. Yep. Awesome. So sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
And also, too, guys, remember to follow me on social media. Remember, Cuttino TSMA on Instagram or Twitter. Like I said, I know I keep saying it. Hopefully, I should have some fight news soon. Like I said, I'm just waiting on the contract. I already got an opponent, already got a venue, already got a date. Just waiting for the contract to come. As soon as the contract has come, I'm going to announce it. But like I said, I've been training, getting ready for this fight. Like I said, so hopefully I'll be telling you guys soon. And then remember, guys, please like, subscribe. Share it, man. Keep spreading the word, man. Kickboxing. Let's keep growing. Like I said, we were talking about kickboxing growing, right? We were talking about having a promoter, but also it starts with us as well. It starts with us with the fans. We gotta spread it around. Tell everybody, man. Let's get our friends into it. Let's get our family into it. Hey, grab them around, sit them down, have them go on YouTube, have them watch some fights, have them watch some Remy fights. You know, have them watch some Glory fights, some One fights, some K1 fights, Pride fights, whatever it is. Just let them know kickboxing is where it's at.
And if they don't, just beat up your family and they'll be like, oh, this is nice. It's the best product in the world. This is the thing of watching Glory's library, watching K1. This is the best product in the world. You need someone to promote it because clearly the product is good. Anyway, what are you wearing before we head out of here? Brandon, what are you wearing right now?
I'm wearing my Talk Less, Fight More shirt, saying you get it on the shop at FightersFirst.shop, saying get the merch. Remember, we do have our own shirt as well for the show, Kicking It, with Tim and the Mechanic. So hey,
it's in the mail somewhere. It's on the way to me.
Exactly. So I'm saying if you guys want to support the show, get a shirt, please spread the word, man. Let them know. We're trying to let kickboxing have its own little domain. So we're trying to be that show that maybe helps kickboxing grow up. I'm saying we're not going to be the show that maybe puts it on the map, or maybe we will if people keep liking us, but we want to be one of the vehicles that help keep growing the show.
Awesome stuff. Thanks so much for your time, Brandon.